live Q&A. All right, welcome everybody. Excited to have y'all on, and let's get into some live Q&A. We're going to be talking about thyroid today, and pretty much anything you've got questions on. Go ahead and put those down below. I always get hundreds of questions on these live Q&As. So if you've got an important question, if you've got something you want answered, put it down below quick. Put it down below now. So I will be going through that order that they get put on there. But also put down where you guys are watching from. Love to give you a shout out. We've got people all over the United States, all over the world. Let me know what you got going on with health conditions, health issues. But let's get into the thyroid a little bit. I love thinking about this as it's probably not your thyroid. So I'm going to be going through today some things that are causing you to have thyroid symptoms or to be diagnosed hypothyroid. But it's not really because it's the thyroid gland. Hey, Sasha from New York, good to see you there. Susan, thank you for the rose in Trinidad. Greg from South Carolina, awesome to see you. So here's the top reasons why it's not your thyroid, even though you've been told you have hypothyroid. And number one is what's called Hashimoto's. And so Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition attacking the thyroid. That doesn't mean that it's a thyroid disease. Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Andrea in Michigan, good to see you as well. It doesn't mean it's a thyroid disease. It means it's an autoimmune disease. Gloria there in Ohio. Chanel in New Mexico, and great to see everybody. So Hashimoto's is not a thyroid disease. It is a autoimmune condition, and it's attacking the thyroid. So you can't just take thyroid medication and fix it. You've got to fix the underlying why. So that's one of the things that's going on. Another thing can be that it's an underconversion. You have to convert your T4 to your T3. And if you're not converting that, then you won't have enough T3, active, good, usable form of thyroid. And so it's an underconversion, 60% in the liver, 20% in the gut. So you may be producing plenty of thyroid hormone, or you're taking levothyroxine, but you're not converting it. That's not a thyroid issue. And then you've got a hypopituitary. The pituitary tells the thyroid what to do, but it also tells the adrenals what to do. And so we have this adrenal fatigue contributing to the pituitary fatigue, and it's not able to stimulate the thyroid like it needs. So we have these other conditions that even though you have hypothyroid, and I'm going to teach you guys exactly what you need to be testing for this. All right, only goods. So we have first question here. Could high estrogen cause low iron? So about the only reason you would have high estrogen causing low iron is if that was causing an excessive bleeding around your menstrual cycle. But otherwise, a high estrogen is not going to cause you to have malabsorption. Usually, if somebody has a low ferritin, it's because they are going to be low absorption and malabsorption, leaky gut, some things like that. So again, welcome everybody. Dr. Ben Gallagher here, F8 Well Centers, Colorado, Tennessee offices, and we've got doctors working with patients all over the country, in Australia, in Canada, all over the place. So if you need help, if you need support, we've got links down below. Schedule that discovery call, and we'd love to talk to you about how you can get your health back. I also have a live webinar coming up next Tuesday, the 13th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. It will be on registration there on the webinar registration part. Otherwise, you can see it live on TikTok as well. Let's get jumping through some more of these questions. Arkansas, great to see you there. Vivian from Kentucky. And it's not my thyroid, it's PCOS and insulin resistance. Finally was diagnosed correctly. Emily, this is awesome. So check out TikTok. I did a video on this a couple of days ago about PCOS. I've got tons of information on there. Check out my YouTube channel. Lots and lots of videos on PCOS. So yes, PCOS 99% of the time has an insulin resistance component to it. And you know, you've got the crying emoji, but this is actually exciting because We can get this fixed very, very quickly. One of the big things we do with our patients, hey Paula, good to see you, is to give them a continuous glucose monitor. We slap that on the arm, on the abdomen. You wear that for 3 months, and you get to know exactly what makes that blood sugar go up, what makes it go down, and why your body has this insulin resistance in the first place. And then that makes your ovaries produce more androgens, which is like the testosterone, and that's why you get chin hairs and all these other issues. And then you start getting your issues with your cysts on your ovaries. And so insulin resistance is easily reversible. So do not get depressed, do not get down or sad, anything there, because this is actually exciting. This is what we help people all the time. Barbara, I need to know. So here's how you know if you have other things contributing to these thyroid issues. Number one is you test for Hashimoto's antibodies. Write these down. Next time you talk to your doctor, get these run. If he won't run it or she won't run it, let us know. We get blood work done all over the country. So you need to run your TPO and your TG, your thyroglobulin antibodies. Those are your Hashimoto's antibodies. If those are positive, you have an autoimmune. Now it's totally different than just taking a thyroid medication, because thyroid medication will never fix your autoimmune. It will never stop that autoimmune. Number two, to see if it's under conversion, you look at your T4 and your T3. And if there's a big ratio difference, if the T4 is at the higher end and the T3 is at the lower end, then you're not converting to that T3 like you need to. Liver, gut, things like that. And then you look at for the pituitary, you look at your TSH, and if you have low thyroid hormone levels, if they're at the lower level, but your TSH is less than 1.8 and not stimulating that as well, then it's a hypopituitary issue. So we need to get that figured out. Which is going on where. This is Marissa. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease in 2009, and I'm on levothyroxine. I have some nodules on my thyroid as well. My problem is I can't seem to lose the weight. I'm also deficient in B and iron and vitamin D. So here's the deal. This is what we talk about all the time, is just because you go on levothyroxine, just because you go on Synthroid, Armour, Nature-Throid, and B-Thyroid, none of that will fix Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's is not a thyroid disease. Hashimoto's is not a thyroid condition. It is an autoimmune condition that's attacking the thyroid. So a lot of you guys have heard my mom's story, how she healed from MS. She gave away her wheelchair, gave away her cane. She's 79 now, does Granny Boot Camp, all these great things. And what she was doing was fixing the autoimmune. She wasn't fixing her nerves. She didn't go, oh, I have a nerve disease, give me something to help my nerves. No, she had to stop the autoimmune. Just like if you've got rheumatoid arthritis and your knuckles starting to move and getting bigger, whatever it is, you do not just take glucosamine chondroitin and go, oh, it's a joint disease. No, it's an autoimmune disease, and you've got to calm that down. So that is what's going on with Hashimoto's, is you have to fix that autoimmune condition. Otherwise, you'll never get better. You'll never have that optimal weight. Just by taking levothyroxine will never fix Hashimoto's. It may not even get you feeling great, and so that's the big thing. But if you also are deficient in D, in B, in iron, I guarantee you've got some leaky gut going on there. So we've got to fix that. God bless y'all. Thank you so much there. Let's go, Brandon, 89. I guess that is why my thyroid meds don't seem to help. Yeah, so here's the deal. Just by going on thyroid medication, okay, you're probably taking levothyroxine, #1 best-selling drug in the United States. It's going to give you a little bit more thyroid hormone in your body, but it's not going to fix anything. Any of these other issues, it's not fixing. Yes, a few times it's just a low thyroid state, but most of the time it's a Hashimoto's, it's an underconversion, it's a hypopituitary, and sometimes it's all of those. So we've got to dig deep. If your doctor won't run all these markers for you, let us know. Schedule that discovery call. Click the link down below. Schedule that discovery call, and we will go through and tell you exactly how to get that blood work. We've got labs all over the country. 99% of the U.S. population within 30 miles, you can get to one of our labs, and we will get that blood drawn there. Let's see what we've got here. All right, this is Anne. My mouth is so dry. I've had lots of tests for autoimmune. Could it be related to supplements? Potentially. Have you had ANA done to see if there is going to be any issues with Sjogren's? That's a common autoimmune. Yeah, possibly supplements. I have not seen that with many supplements. So, you could always stop for 2 or 3 weeks and see if it gets better. So we have high TSH plus Hashimoto's, NP thyroid on 90 milligrams. What kind of test is needed? So here's the deal. This is SoCal girl, Mandy. Hey, Mandy. So now, okay, you have Hashimoto's. I almost don't care what the TSH is doing now. I don't care what the T3, T4 is doing, because now you're going to try to maintain that with your NP thyroid, which is T3 and T4. But now we've got to go and we've got to fix that Hashimoto's. We've got to fix that autoimmune. How do we do that? We look, check out, Brittany, you want to pop some videos down below from YouTube on fixing autoimmune, fixing Hashimoto's. And this is actually what my live webinar next Tuesday at 7 p.m. is going to be. We're going to spend probably an hour, hour and a half answering questions, going through all kinds of information on autoimmune. And that's how you need to think about your thyroid condition now. No, it's not a thyroid condition, it's an autoimmune condition. And so you've got to fix the blood sugar, keep it stabilized 85 to 110 all day long. You've got to fix your adrenal glands. You've got to work on your leaky gut. You've got to work on getting your vitamin D up close to that 80 level. You've got to help any environmental issues that you have going on or infections. All these different things that are going to be driving that autoimmune. That's how you get it fixed, not just by taking NP thyroid, levothyroxine, Synthroid, any of those. So again, welcome everybody. Dr. Ben Galliard, F8 Well Centers, offices in Colorado and Tennessee. I have multiple doctors that work with patients all over the country and around the world. Click the link down below. If you're not getting your thyroid solutions or any other health things, click that link, schedule that discovery call, and we would love to talk to you and walk you through this process. Emily, my ferritin is at 22. I'm supplementing with iron. I want to know the underlying cause. I had H. pylori that I treated this past summer. What else do I need to look for as an underlying cause? So Emily, this is great. So many of you guys out there are dealing with low ferritin. Ferritin, if I could only test one marker in blood work, it would be ferritin. Low, we're looking at leaky gut, we're looking at malabsorption, and we know that we've got to figure out what's going on primarily in that gut. Yes, some women are having a lot of bleeding in their menstrual cycle, but it's really primarily in that digestive tract that we have to put our focus on. So if you had H. pylori, you may never be fully cleared of H. pylori. H. pylori is the bacteria that causes the ulcers in the stomach, but 80% of H. pylori is found in the small intestine, and both in the stomach and small intestine. If there's H. pylori, you will have bleeding, you will have malabsorption, you will not be utilizing your nutrients, and you will be having a low iron state. So we've got to take a step back, do a allergy elimination diet. We've got to work on that gut lining, and I've got a bunch of videos on leaky gut. If you want, put some links on those, Brittany. So we've got to eliminate the food allergens. We've got to heal up the gut lining. We've got to kill off bad stuff. We've got to bring back in good bacteria, all types of different things. So it's a process, and you've got to keep digging deeper into that digestive tract. So let's see, are there any ferritin tablets? So like chocolate biscuits. So here's the deal, ferritin tablets, iron tablets, you can get liquid form, you can do infusions, all types of different things, but none of that is fixing why you have a low iron in the first place. That's what we just talked about. How do you get that low iron? So again, guys, pop those questions down below. I'm gonna stay as long as I can and try to answer as many of these questions as possible. And so let's go there. Hypo with Graves antibodies. Yeah, so this is Autumn. So you have hypothyroid and you have Graves antibodies. So you've got to, again, treat it like an autoimmune condition. natural ways to cure a UTI with antibiotics. This is Chandel. So a UTI is a urinary tract infection, and some of the things naturally you can do are what's called D-mannose. D-mannose is a powder. Brittany, you want to put a link for the Well Store for that one. D-mannose is a powder. It's an amino acid that's going to coat that bladder and urinary tract, and it's going to help prevent that infection. It's going to help heal from that. You can do some natural kill-off. Some oil of oregano is going to be good, and so that can be helpful as well. If you have a massage therapist, a PT, a chiropractor, anybody that can do visceral manipulation, that's going to be great, because one of the things that can happen is that bladder can get tilted, especially in women, and so then you can pool urine in that dip there, and it's going to be more likely to get an infection. So you can actually manually pull that up and get it into the right place, and that's going to help prevent some of those UTIs as well. Let's be honest, I am chronically ill and depend on TPN and other medical devices. So, if somebody is chronically ill, you've got to do that in-depth comprehensive blood panel. You've got to look at all of your hormones, adrenals, male and female hormones. You've got to look for autoimmune, Hashimoto's, lupus, rheumatoid, all these common ones that we see. You've got to look at inflammatory markers, blood sugar markers, liver, all these different things. Throw the net out wide, figure out which systems are out of balance, and then you just start checking them off. You go through this one, and then this one, and this one, and you just go through step by step by step through that process. There is no magic, I'm chronically ill, what do I do bullet. You just have to keep working through and making sure those are going to be working better. Laura Lynn Smith, is citric acid added in our food mold? I can't remember the scientific name. So potentially somebody, if you have a mold issue, you may have an issue with citric acid, but it's not very, very likely. Glenda, awesome to see you. Hope you are doing well. And ANA was negative. Where's the link for the discovery call? So Brittany, make sure that Ann gets that link, and she can set up that discovery call. We can walk you through what it looks like to get a more in-depth approach. So again, if you've got issues and autoimmune markers aren't showing up, and they're just like, well, we'll toss our hands up, and until we can diagnose with you something, we're not going to work on anything. That's not the way to fix things. So, and we would love to talk to you through there. Terza, great to see you. What do you think about the role of parasites in autoimmune low iron inflammation? Yeah, so some people have parasites. A lot of people have parasites. I think if we autopsied everybody digestive tract, we would probably find parasites in the majority of people. Does that mean parasites are the driving cause of autoimmune low iron inflammation? In some people, yes, but in a lot of people, that's not the underlying reason why. It's not like, oh my gosh, we did this great parasite kill off and now their autoimmune low iron and inflammation is better, because if their blood sugar is still jacked, if their adrenals are still depleted, if their liver isn't detoxifying like it's supposed to, if they still have other kinds of infections, if their hormones are jacked, all these other things, killing off parasites will take some stress off that, but it's not going to fix those other things. So, Jersey, you got to look again at that whole picture and not just get like, oh my gosh, it's Epstein-Barr virus. Oh my gosh, it's a parasite. Oh my gosh, it's my mercury fillings. Oh my gosh, it's my chronic sinus infection. Whatever's going on, you still have to fix all those ground floor things. Melody Bass Angel, hypo and Hashimoto's. Yeah, absolutely. So now, if you know you have Hashimoto's, now you know it's not a thyroid disease. Now you know it's an autoimmune condition that you've got to address that autoimmune. Yes, you're probably going to need some thyroid medication or some thyroid herbs or whatever it is, but you've got to stop the autoimmune. Here's the thing, no one's going to die from Hashimoto's. No one dies from Hashimoto's, but In the majority of people that have one autoimmune condition, they have multiple. And so we see so many times somebody's ANA is also high if they have Hashimoto's or rheumatoid factor or other autoimmune. So now you're attacking other tissues, and that's where the big scary stuff can actually come in. Hashimoto's, you'll never feel great if you don't do what you need to do to fix it. But yeah, so there's no cure to these rare chronic illnesses. Okay, not sure which ones you're talking about. And when I'm 32, never pregnant. Is it too late for me? Cinnamon, is it too late to get pregnant? Absolutely not. My wife, I think our first pregnancy was at 29 or 30. Last one was at 36, 37. So absolutely not too late to get pregnant. The thing that you want to do, Cinnamon 855, is to make sure you're as healthy as feasibly possible. So if you're not pregnant yet, that's actually great. So now let's fix your blood sugar. Let's calm down your inflammatory process. Let's work on your gut. Let's get your liver detoxifying. Let's make sure your hormones are in as good a place as possible. And then you're going to be in that much better place to get pregnant and be as vital as possible through that. Because here's one of the big concerns is that a lot of women after their pregnancy, if they feel bad, if they have this flare up, it's usually because they've stimulated autoimmune. Estrogenic events going through puberty, menopause, pregnancies, all these estrogenic events can drive autoimmune. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids and you were never the same after one of those kids, it's probably an autoimmune thing. So again, anybody jumping on, Dr. Ben Gallagher here at F8 Well Centers. We have offices in Colorado, Tennessee. We work with patients remotely or in office, doesn't matter. And follow my page. I've got tons and tons of videos, like our Facebook page, our YouTube page, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And I've got tons and tons of videos. We go live all the time and help people out. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be having a live webinar all on autoimmune. So if you're dealing with autoimmune, whether that's Hashimoto's or lupus or anything else, let me know. I've already had a hysterectomy. So, Crystal, yeah, you know what? So if it was a complete hysterectomy, they took out the ovaries and the uterus, then your hormones are going to be pretty jacked and you're going to have to be on some type of hormone replacement. But if you still have your ovaries, you may not have to have those. But yeah, if you had a hysterectomy, then you've got to figure out why you had that in the first place, because it's probably some cysts or it's some different issues, endometriosis, whatever it is. You still have to figure out why your body was like that. Marianne, I'm in Colorado. We've got offices in Denver, Fort Collins, outside Nashville, and then we work with patients remotely all over the country. I just talked to ladies in California yesterday, one on Tuesday in Texas. We have patients all over the place. Insulin resistant, hypo with Graves' disease. Yep, you've got to get that blood sugar fixed. I can't get a doctor to run blood tests for my thyroid. I have talked to 8 different doctors. Lillian, this is ridiculous. This is what we see all the time is they're like, you don't need to know what your T3 is. You don't need to know what your T4 is. You only need TSH, or you only need T4 and you don't need TSH. You don't need to know if you have Hashimoto's. That is BS. We need to know exactly what is going on and then we move our feet. So if you can't get a doctor to run those, reach out. How much does it cost to run Hashimoto's markers? It's about $15. And if your doctor's like, oh, you don't need that, or it's too expensive, or whatever, be like, I need to know. And that's what you have to do is you have to run those Hashimoto's markers, run that full, complete thyroid. And if they won't do it, let us know. Reach out to F8. We have labs all over the country where you can get that blood work done. So yeah, absolutely. Yep, total and free T3 and T4 also. Absolutely. So here's what you want to run on thyroid. You want to run TPO antibodies, thyroglobulin antibodies. Your reverse T3 is great. That tells us about estrogen and some other issues in the body. You want to run your free and total T3 and T4, and that's going to be huge as well. And so you've got to get that complete picture. And Yeah, my sister had stage 1 thyroid cancer and has no thyroid. Any recommendations, Chanel? So, of all the cancers to get, thyroid cancer is probably about one of the best ones. It's the best survival rate. But here's the deal. Yes, she had thyroid cancer, but she can still have underconversion. So you still have to check that T3 and T4 ratio. You still have to look at your TSH compared to your T3, T4, and see if there's a hypopituitary state going on as well. So there are other things that she still has to look into. This is say origin mom. Hashimoto's, then RA, now non-alcoholic fatty liver. Is there help for this? Absolutely. So here's what we're talking about, people. Write this down. Over half the people, the majority of people that are dealing with Hashimoto's, one autoimmune condition, they have multiple, or it will turn into multiple. So this lady, Hashimoto's, and then turned into rheumatoid arthritis. So now she's attacking her own joints, and there could be other ones. There could be lupus. There could be other issues going on. So, and then you've got your fatty liver, all these different things. So it all plays in together. You've got to take a step back, and you've got to look at blood sugar, adrenals, leaky gut, vitamin D, estrogenic events, environmental toxins, infections, food allergens. If you have Hashimoto's, you should never eat gluten again. I don't care if we test it or don't test it. The research shows if you eat gluten and you have Hashimoto's and you react to gluten, it can cause a reaction up to 6 months down the road. So we've got to get that dialed in. Gloria, I've had 5 iron infusions. The highest it got was 62. It's back down to 8. I had endoscopy and colonoscopy, so they do upper and lower, and they meet in the middle. My esophagus was inflamed, so right away they blamed it on that. But I had the same. Jumped ahead here. Hold on just a second. But I had the same problem 4 years ago. The colonoscopy was good, endoscopy was good. Yeah, so if you have a really, really low iron, if your ferritin's at 8, 5, 7, single digits, you've got to do in-depth. I don't care what they see in the endoscopy or colonoscopy. I guarantee you are not absorbing your nutrients like you need to. You're not absorbing your iron. So let's get into leaky gut. Write all these things down. You want to take out food allergens, gluten, corn, soy, dairy, beans, nuts, all these potential food allergens, at least short term, 2, 3, 4 weeks, you want to pull those out. You want to get rid of any bad bacteria, yeast, any bad things in your gut. And so what that is going to look like is killing off. I love the oil of oregano. You can put a link down below for that one. I love the oil of oregano to kill off the bad stuff. And then you bring in good stuff. You bring in probiotics at that point. Don't just start taking probiotics. You need to kill off the bad stuff first. And then you may need to replace enzymes, stomach acid, bile salts if you don't have your gallbladder, fiber in your large intestine to make sure you're going like you need to. You may need to replace some of those, and then you want to heal up that gut lining. Glutamine, marshmallow root, aloe vera juice, different nutrients to help heal up that gut lining. And so I've never seen somebody, hey Miriam in Berlin in Germany, great to see you. I've never seen somebody with a really low ferritin. We worked through our whole program with them, and they did not get optimal ferritin levels. I've never seen it in over 20 years in practice. So if your ferritin is low, if all you're doing is taking infusions, if all you're doing is taking supplements or iron liquid, whatever it is, and you're not getting it fixed, because just taking iron doesn't fix it, reach out. We'll be able to do that. So schedule that discovery call. That's going to be the best way to do that. What's the deal with food intolerance tests? Are they reliable, Dr. Seam? So against them, how can you get officially diagnosed? I had plenty, and they did intolerance testing on my 30 years ago, and it was very accurate. They will not do them on my 3-year-old. So here's the deal with food allergy tests, food sensitivity tests, however you want to look at it, is if somebody has major leaky gut or malabsorption like we were just talking about, there's a very good chance that you're not going to get a super accurate food allergy test. You might have 40 things that show up. I have some people, they'll show up with spinach and lettuce and chicken and all types of different things. And you're like, can you really be allergic to spinach? And yes, there might be a gluten or there might be a corn or soy or whatever else in there, but it'll show up a lot of things that are not true food allergens. And for us, we don't start with a food allergy test with our patients and then you get 20, 30, 40 things come back and then they're so overwhelmed they can't start eating. If we see a bunch of that anyways, we've got to attack the gut. We've got to get that gut healing up as much as feasibly possible. So that's the next step. So again, Dr. Ben Gallagher here. Pop down any questions down below. I'm going to stay as long as I can and try to get through as many of these. Where are you? I'm on the thyroid meds, have been for 9 years. They aren't helping. I'm dizzy all the time. Yeah, because you didn't fix why you're on thyroid meds. Yes, you may be on thyroid meds, but there's still probably 6 or 7 or 8 other systems that are out of balance. Adrenals and liver and gut and hormones and our detoxification pathways, all these different things. And so where am I? I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have an office in Denver, Colorado. We have an office in Nashville, Tennessee. We have patients drive in from all over the place, 200, 300, 400 miles. I had a lady drive 8 hours from Nebraska yesterday, come see us. And if you can't do that, if you can't make it in the office, schedule that discovery call and we'll talk about how we can do this remotely as well. Which thyroid medicine do you recommend for hypo and what did she do for her MS? This is Autumn Kale Center, Kale's granny. So which thyroid medicine do you recommend? I recommend the thyroid medication that you feel best on. So it could be a levothyroxine or Synthroid. Those are both T4. It could be a Nature Throid, it could be an NP thyroid and Armor, which are going to be the pig thyroid, pig glandular thyroid, which are T3 and T4. But some people feel better on levothyroxine than they do the natural form, and some people vice versa. So it's whichever you feel better on. I don't have a preference. There's way worse drugs you can be on. It's not like the synthetic form is going to be worse for you than the pig form. Doesn't really matter. What did my mom do for her MS? Same thing we're talking about. Same thing I'm going to be talking about next Tuesday in our autoimmune webinar is going through each and every system, going through the brain, calming it down out of that fight or flight, healing up the gut, calming down the adrenals, all these different things, and your body can heal from a lot of different things. You're 42. This is MSCAT operator. 42 thyroid and parathyroid removed in 2017. Still don't feel 100% tired all the time. Yeah. So here's the deal. Just because you had your thyroid removed and now you're on thyroid medication, you're not fixed. You probably still have blood sugar issues. You probably still have gut issues. You probably still are not detoxifying like you need to, and you need to work on your liver. You're probably still having some brain issues and maybe not sleeping as well as you should, or you have chronic anxiety or all kinds of things. So yeah, that's great. They gave you medication for having the thyroid removed, but you may still not even be converting your T4 to your T3. And so you've got to dig deeper. Big Kahuna t-shirts. Can you treat Hashimoto's? Yes, so here's the deal. You don't treat the thyroid. Sure, you need to be on your thyroid medication or supplements or iodine or whatever you're doing, but you have to now treat the autoimmune and treat your immune system and your inflammatory response in your body and things that are driving that autoimmune. Same thought if a patient comes in with rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or alopecia and their hair's falling out, whatever autoimmune is going on, we are going to take a step back, throw that net out, get the blood work as comprehensive as we possibly can, and then go, okay, these are your 6 systems out of balance. Let's move our feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go through each one of them, work as much as we possibly can to get that fixed. That's how you treat Hashimoto's. No amount of thyroid hormone will ever fix or even treat Hashimoto's. And I have swollen lymph nodes and had a small nodule. They said is good. I've gotten COVID 3 times and I'm tired. Swollen lymph nodes and the COVID, I would look into your lymphocytes. If your lymphocytes are over 38%, and especially if your white blood cell count, your WBC is below 5, very good chance you have a chronic viral infection, and it's probably Epstein-Barr virus. So look at those numbers in your blood work, and the research shows that people that are getting long COVID, it's the majority of them are getting reactivated Epstein-Barr virus, which is mono. Do you believe in iron infusions to help with anemia? So here's the deal. The iron infusions are going to give you more iron. Period. That's it. It will do nothing to fix the why. It will not fix why you have a low ferritin in the first place. So if all you're doing is taking iron infusions, taking iron supplements, taking iron liquid, any of those things, you are missing the boat. You are not going to be getting these things fixed. So yes, some people, if your ferritin, your iron level down there is at like a 3 or 5 or 7, you may need some iron infusions. But if that's all you're doing, you are missing out. It's time for a second opinion. Click that link down below, schedule that discovery call, and we would love to talk to you about how you can actually fix this. I don't want to just cover things up. That's the last thing I want to do is cover things up. Let's see here. Irene on Facebook. What kind of exercise do you recommend with fatigue, cortisol issues, and PCOS? How to move away from not tolerating physical stress like heavy weight and cardio without crashing after. So here you go, Irene. There's two things that you need to do. You need to move and you need to exercise. Those are separate things. Movement is going for a walk, getting outside, getting in the sun, which is crucial. Don't just cover up with hat and sunblock and all that. You need sun. You need that vitamin D. And then exercise. But here's the deal with exercise, Irene. You need it for your adrenals. You need it for your cortisol. You need it for your insulin resistance, all those things. But you don't want to go too high and you don't want to go too long. So most people aren't exercising enough or don't do anything at all. But then for the other people that are exercising, most of them are actually doing too much. So here's what I do and here's what you need to do. 180 minus your age. If you have all those things, you want to subtract another 5 points on there. So if you're 40, that would be a max heart rate of 135. I almost guarantee if you're doing some of those exercises, you're going over that 135. So max heart rate 135, and then you've got to look at the timing of it. And you've got to say, okay, well, I can do it for 5 minutes and feel good. I can do it for 6 minutes and feel good. 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Oh, you know what? I'm tired. If you're tired after working out, if you want to take a nap, if you're like, oh, I want to sit down, anything like that. I used to go to CrossFit gyms and people would go so hardcore, they'd be lying there like throwing up, sweating all over. They couldn't even get up after their workout. That's too much. You just jacked your adrenals. So what do you need to do? You need to make sure that you're not going too long enough to kind of stimulate the adrenals, but not so long that you're feeling tired. So for some people, that's only 5 minutes at 132 beats per minute. And that's it. That's all you got. But guess what? And then the next day you might be able to do 5 minutes and 10 seconds. And then you can just keep going. So that is huge. Let me know if you have any questions on that one. My grandmother had 4 kids between 42 and 49. Hey, yeah, see, there you go. Grandma had 4 kids between 42 and 49. So if you're 32, it is not too late for you to have a baby. I'm 8 weeks postpartum. Yeah, Carrie, you've got to take massive action. If you're postpartum 8 weeks right now and you're not doing well, you are probably revving up that autoimmune. And if you had autoimmune before, you are definitely going to be having more symptoms. Hey Sherry, good morning from snowy Nebraska. Awesome. I know you guys need it out there. Not a lot of moisture. How do you fix the rheumatoid arthritis? Same as Hashimoto's, same as MS, all these things, is you've got to look and address these different systems that are out of balance. And that's what we're going to be talking about next Tuesday, live webinar, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So that'll be 9 Eastern Time. And we'll go through each and every one of the systems that can drive that autoimmune. How did she stop the autoimmune disease? So again, let's go through this again. Autoimmune, Stabilize your blood sugar, 85 to 110 every day. Help the adrenal glands, nourish those adrenals. If you're in a chronic fight or flight, you've got to fix why. You've got to work on that leaky gut, heal that up. Your vitamin D needs to be upwards of 80 on that optimal range. You need to make sure you don't have any chronic infections. H. pylori, like we've talked about, the Epstein-Barr virus, like we've talked about. Just had a new patient yesterday that with MS, and I almost guarantee there's going to be, when we get the blood work back, some type of chronic infection in there, just the way her history is working itself out. You need to look at environmental toxins. I had a patient that had autoimmune liver, and they wanted to take out her liver. She worked in the windmill factory, you know, those windmills that are supposed to produce a bunch of electricity but don't do that great. She was in the paint department, which you can imagine the paint that they put on those to handle the wind and snow and sun and all that. And it was so toxic, it triggered her body to start attacking her own liver. And she was in her early 20s. We got her fixed up. Last time she went to her medical doctor, the liver enzymes were totally fine. And the doctor was like, should we take you off the liver transplant list, do you think? And she's like, yeah, I think I'll keep my liver, thank you. So, you know, so it's this whole comprehensive approach that you have to take to fix autoimmune. And yeah, so where are you located? So Dr. Ben Gallagher, FA Well Centers, we have offices in Colorado as well as Tennessee, and then we work with patients all over the country, even around the world. We just had a patient in Australia last week, so pretty neat to be able to help people like that. Yeah, happy Chrissy. I had Hashimoto's. I ended up with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Yeah, so if you're not fixing the underlying why, your body can attack other tissues. I've been taking meds for years, only testing my TLC levels, maybe T4 levels or TSH levels. Yeah, so here's the deal. This is JD RAS 54. You need to look at Hashimoto's antibodies. You need to look at full T3 and T4, and then you can start actually doing things to make your body feel better. Kayla, and hold on just a second. There it is. I am 18 and my cholesterol is 200 and ferritin is low. Any reasons why? So cholesterol 200 is not a problem. That's really not an issue at all. I'm not that worried about cholesterol 200. The ferritin low, one of a couple things. Either you're having really heavy bleeding and you're like bleeding for 2 weeks with your menstrual cycle, or you are not absorbing and utilizing nutrients, have leaky gut, malabsorption, different issues in your digestive tract. So Kayla, now is the time to take massive action, because at 18, you are going to develop autoimmune down the road if you continue with leaky gut, malabsorption, not utilizing your nutrients like you should. Angela, my doctor refused to consider Armour. Yeah, so this is the crazy part. You've got levothyroxine and Synthroid, which are both T4 hormone, and then you've got Armour, Nature-Throid, NP thyroid, and those are T3 and T4, and those come from pig glandular ground up pig thyroid, which is kind of a weird concept, but it actually works. And so some doctors have been convinced that the natural form is, you can't really regulate it. It's not a consistent number of hormone level in the supplement or the drug. And so it's this, well, we know what the Synthroid is going to be, or the levothyroxine is going to be, and that's all we're going to give you. And so, yeah, it's sad because some people do better with those. What about selenium from Brazil nuts and kelp for iodine? Sure, Kiki, that's fine for thyroid, getting some selenium, getting some iodine, whether that's in food form or in supplement form. But if you have Hashimoto's, that's not going to fix anything. If you have underconversion of your T4 to your T3, that's not going to fix anything. There's a few people that just don't produce enough T4 hormone. And for those people, yes, some selenium, some kelp, some things like that can be helpful. How do you fix leaky gut? Lucy, we just talked about this. So we've got getting rid of bad bacteria, bad yeast. I love the oil of oregano that we use, bringing in probiotics after doing that, healing up the gut lining with glutamine, marshmallow root, aloe vera juice, different nutrients that way, and then replacing any enzymes, stomach acid, bile salts if you've had your gallbladder out, any type of fiber if you're not moving things through. All of that's going to be huge for leaky gut, and then taking out any potential food allergens, gluten, corn, soy, dairy, nuts, beans, things like that. Yep, my adrenal insufficiency was misdiagnosed as anxiety for 3 years. So, Maria, here's the deal. I almost guarantee you've got blood sugar hypoglycemia, blood sugar swings as well, and that's probably driving. I would say the number one stressor to the adrenal glands is actually these blood sugar swings. So it's going to be driving that adrenal insufficiency, and then ultimately, when the adrenals are stimulated because that blood sugar crashes down, we call it random anxiety, and so then the anxiety is going to kick in because we've got adrenaline going through the body. So if you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're sweating, if you're stressed, if your mind's racing, it's usually a blood sugar dipping issue. So your adrenal insufficiency, if you haven't fixed your blood sugar, you still are going to be having issues. Not sure why my cortisol wasn't tested for all that time. Yeah, if you come in, if you come into one of the offices, if we get you to one of our labs around the country, you will get tested for cortisol. You will get tested for DHEA. You will get tested testosterone and all these different hormones. Do you also test Lyme, SIBO, like hidden infections to find root cause for Hashimoto's in my case? So, Judy, we will go down that path if we need to. For a lot of people, the vast majority of people, we are able to help them heal from their autoimmune, Hashimoto's, MS, whatever it is, without going down the Lyme rabbit hole or the mold rabbit hole. And sometimes those are things that need to be addressed. But in the vast majority of people, that is not where we start. You know, a good Lyme test is $750 to get them house tested for mold and figure out what's going on there. And we're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So those things at the right time for the right people, we will go down that path. But for the vast majority of people, do not need to jump in there and then go down this rabbit hole, and they are not able to get things fixed. How much is thyroid confused with Cushing's? Not a whole lot. You know, we test cortisol, we test DHEA on every single patient, and I'm sure it happens for some people. But Cushing's, we're talking adrenal issues there, but I just don't see it that much. We've got Henry. Hi, my wife's psoriasis is under control now. Should she continue with bone broth probiotics and autoimmune paleo diet? Yeah, so Henry, good to see you there. I think Henry's in Philippines, Thailand. I can't remember where you're at there. But yeah, so that psoriasis, I drink bone broth every single day. You know, probiotics, that's great. Take probiotics every single day. The autoimmune paleo diet, that's the pretty extreme where there's no beans, no nuts, no seeds, no tomatoes, no nightshades, gluten, corn, soy, dairy, all of those things. That's pretty hard to do forever. So I would say start reintroducing slowly. If you see a flare up, then you may want to take that off again. Julie, I think my husband may have Parkinson's, does not want to go to a regular doctor. Any advice to go in the right direction? Julie, I would look into a lot of Parkinson's is toxin based. And so I would look into the liver, I would look into toxins. If you go to a neurologist and they diagnose Parkinson's, they'll put you on the Parkinson's drug. It will help, but then eventually you have to take more and take more and take more, and it's this downward spiral. But I would definitely look into the toxin side of things. Hi, is this info on a website? As it's so valuable but difficult to note it down. My chocolate biscuits. Go ahead and send us a DM if there's any specific information that you have. This will actually be up onto YouTube later in the next probably couple hours. It will be on YouTube, so you can go back and watch, fast forward through all of these. I've got over 700 videos on YouTube, tons and tons of information for you guys, all free on there. So if you want to rewatch this one, it's being recorded on YouTube. And so it will be on there an hour or two after we get off. What is a normal vitamin D level of person with autoimmune? So normal is different than optimal. The lab says 30 to 100. We like it 60 to 80. If you have autoimmune, 80 is where you want that. And do you offer telehealth visits? Sarah, absolutely. We do telehealth all over the country, Canada, Australia, all over the place. Do you work with patients in New Mexico? Yes, even people in New Mexico. Yeah, come on up to our Denver office. That's great. Dr. Anderson's down there, amazing. Otherwise, we can work with you remotely as well. Do you have any doctors in East Texas? Unfortunately, no, not East Texas. Jump on up to Nashville if you want to come to the office there. You can zip out to Denver, or we can work with you remotely. We've got labs in the area that you can go to within 30 minutes of your house and be able to get you that blood work like we need to. And all my levels came back normal, but I have multiple nodules on the thyroid that are growing, and they are monitoring. So here's the difference. Normal versus optimal. So normal is going to be that lab range that we're just like, hey, you know what, everybody falls into this range. Optimal is where we want healthy people to be. Did they run Hashimoto's markers? This is Jay Brooksy 2010. Did they run the Hashimoto's markers? Maybe, maybe not. That's what we have to look at. What's the normal range of ferritin? Write this down. 40 to 125 for women and 40 to 150 for men. If you're higher than that, it's inflammatory, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, blood sugar issues, all of these things. If it's lower than that, it's malabsorption, leaky gut, some of those. Let me jump. Angela, I have a cyst on my thyroid, which was why I thought the Armour might be a good thing to try. Potentially. I don't think taking Armour is going to get rid of the cyst. So don't look at it that way. It would just be if you feel better on Armour. Another Angela, for patients of newborns, infants, or for parents, what do you recommend for preventing RSV and similar illnesses? They should be breastfeeding for 2 years, nursing for 2 years. You can add in some extra probiotics. Mom, as she is nursing, her vitamin D levels should be optimized. Probably 10,000 a day is what it's going to take for you to get up into that 60 to 80 range, but just test it and you'll be able to see. So probiotics, it's really about the health of mom at this point as much as it is of the baby, because what happens when you're nursing that baby, and this is the amazing thing about how we were designed as humans. And so as you're nursing that baby, your body is going to detect any bacteria, virus, whatever it is, coming off the baby's mouth and saliva and all that, and it will actually, your body will start creating antibodies for that, and it'll come out through the milk into the baby, and they're going to have a much stronger immune system because your body is actually helping them fight certain things. So you need to be nursing, breastfeeding for upwards of 2 years. You need to be making sure they don't go on antibiotics. If they do go on antibiotics, you now trash their gut, and you've got to do heavy duty probiotics. You should be doing some probiotics regularly anyways with them. You can just open up the capsule and put a little bit in their mouth or on your breast as they're nursing as well. So that would be good. And hold on just a second. We've got another one. Will the Tuesday's podcast be rebroadcast as I'm in Portugal, which is 2 a.m.? Kiki, I'm not sure if that one will be on there, but Brittany, if you want to get a hold of Kiki and get her on YouTube, there's some other autoimmune workshops she can do as well. Any suggestion to help cool down extreme hypoglycemia? I do have control on my diet. So here's the deal, Irene. If you have extreme hypoglycemia, your diet's not right. It's not possible. There has to be something off. And so we look at fat, we look at protein. There's a lot of different things that we need to be focusing on to make sure that we're not going hypoglycemic. Hypoglycemia is the really low blood sugar. And so we've got to make sure that's in good range. I'm from Pennsylvania. I need your help. Hey there, JD RAS 54. So again, Dr. Ben Galliard, F8 Well Centers. I've been in practice for over 20 years. I still see patients. I still do this work every single day. We have 5 other doctors on the F8 team in our offices in Colorado and Tennessee, and then our virtual doctors that work with patients all over the country. And then we also have nutritionists that help support each and every one of our patients. And we've got a huge team of people ready to get massive changes. So Pennsylvania, we've had people drive down to Nashville from Pennsylvania and get checked out there. Yes, I still have all the main symptoms for thyroid issues. Yeah, so just going on thyroid medication does not fix the problem. This is Chris. I've been dealing with low iron and vitamin D, so probably some type of absorption issue. And so if you have low iron, we've got to work on that gut lining. If you have vitamin D, get outside, get in the sun, as well as take some vitamin D internally. What about high ferritin? High ferritin is going to be inflammatory process. It's going to be any type of blood sugar, metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, liver issues. I know if I see a high ferritin, anything over that 125 or 150, then I know what else is going to be going on. There's going to be triglycerides and C-reactive protein and all these other issues as well. So we've got to get through those. But I only want you as my doc. A lot of money. I'm 58 and had RA when I was 22. I have trust issues. Southern Gal 56. Yeah, that's fine. Just ask for me specifically. I've been cutting back on my hours and just supporting my team and training and leading. But I still do see patients. So Southern Gal 56. If you still want to see me, just let them know, or send me an email directly at drdrben@f8wellcenters.com, and we can talk about it. My body will not absorb iron. Any ideas? I take it with vitamin C. Alaska tumbleweed, it probably is still that you're losing blood or you're not absorbing it. So you got to look at leaky gut. You've got to look at malabsorption, H. pylori, damaged gut lining. Can't have gallbladder fixed or umbilical hernia because lung function is 29. Can I have sedation? I'm not sure on that one. I do not know whether you can have that sedation. My husband's ferritin was high, but iron normal, and he's suffering from chronic dizziness. Yeah, this is Heather Nunez. So if your husband has high ferritin, guaranteed, 99.9% sure, he has a blood sugar issue. He has insulin resistance. His liver enzymes are going to be high. And the great part is that's easy to fix. We get a continuous glucose monitor. Every one of our new patients gets a continuous glucose monitor, and we're able to see exactly what that blood sugar is. We get people, they reverse their diabetes. I had a lady, she just went from 9.7 to 5.8 in 3 months, lost 40 pounds, something like that. I mean, just amazing what can happen when you start seeing what that blood sugar does. Give a hoot, you're my favorite doctor, love your knowledge. Wish I nursed my kids longer. You are so welcome. Odds of pancreatitis with Ozempic. You know, I don't know those odds. Ozempic, one of those new, they're calling it a weight loss drug, but it's really a diabetes drug. But a lot of people are using it for weight loss. I don't know the exact odds on that, but what I do know is that it's kind of the lazy man's cop-out drug where you're like, okay, well, I want to kind of keep eating what I want to eat, but I want to take this drug. Well, get a continuous glucose monitor, use a finger prick glucose monitor, and start learning what you need to be doing, and don't just try to cover that up. Would hypothyroidism potentially heal itself after getting off birth control or not correlated? Tiffany, again, it all depends on what's driving that Hashimoto's or that hypothyroidism. If it is Hashimoto's, getting off birth control can be helpful, but you still have to fix your gut and your blood sugar and your adrenals and all these other things. But if it's a pituitary issue, then yes, getting off birth control could take down some of that stress on there. How can we raise our ferritin level with having lupus and RA? So Chandel, just because you have lupus and RA does not mean that your ferritin level is going to be low. That means that you've got leaky gut, you've got malabsorption, all those other things. So you can raise your ferritin level by healing your gut, by absorbing your nutrients better, and that will also get your autoimmune to go away as well. I'm a 4 ferritin. This is Nathalia Maya's dot. I'm a 4 ferritin. Well, guess what? You need to be taking some type of iron. So that could be an infusion, any number of things. So, but you also have to fix the why, because you can't just take an infusion, you can't just take supplements. You need to fix why you have low ferritin. If your doctor's not doing that, it's time for a second opinion. Click that link down below, schedule that discovery call. We can get blood work shipped to the labs anywhere in the country, as well as come into our Colorado or Tennessee offices. Have you noticed autoimmune triggered by vaccines? So my wife, actually, when she was going into college a bunch of years ago, she had autoimmune to her platelets triggered by her MMR booster. Within a week or two afterwards, she developed this autoimmune condition. It drove that autoimmune, and they eventually took out her spleen, but did nothing to fix what had been triggered by that. And so, we're very careful with what we do with her. Do you take Texas Panhandle patients? Absolutely. Click that link down below, schedule that discovery call. We've got actually 3 or 4 of our team members that work with FA live in Texas as well. We don't have patient or doctors there, but we do have team members there. Let's see what else. Good morning. I'm on 200 milligrams of Synthroid and my blood work just came back in the 4,000s. Not sure what you're talking about 4,000 in relation to, but 200 milligrams of Synthroid, that sounds like a lot. So I would double check with your doc, make sure that that you're not taking too much. So, I'm moved up on Synthroid. I feel better, but a ton more pain and emotional. So Southern Gal, again, here's the deal. You'll never get it right. If you have Hashimoto's, you'll never get it right by just taking the right dosage of thyroid medication. You've got to address all these other issues, because I guarantee you it's not just your thyroid. It's going to be your gut or your blood sugar or your adrenals or your liver or your detoxification pathways, all these different things. Should I get a second opinion? I'm on levothyroxine for 9 years and gained weight, eat okay, exercise, have Hashimoto's. Absolutely, because they're not treating your autoimmune. Hashimoto's is not a thyroid disease, it's an autoimmune disease. So if you're not treating your autoimmune, you need to get a second opinion. 100% hands down. You need to get somebody that is going to help you with that autoimmune and preventing it from progressing into other ones and actually helping that do better. So yes, you have to do that. LDL is 118. Is that too high? Julie, depends on the person, but if somebody's doing a lot of good things right and their LDL is 118, I'm not worried about it. And let's see if there's any. How much does the lab work usually cost? Andrea, for the blood work, and this includes all of the blood sugar markers, the autoimmune markers, the hormones, everything. If you just walked into your regular lab, it would be between $2,000 and $3,000. I think ours is like $290-ish, and that's cash pay. That's why we're able to get it down at such a cheap price, and we can do that in our offices or anywhere around you. We have labs that you can go to and get that done, and that also includes we'll sit down and we'll go over everything with you as well. Can't test for T4 here. The doc does the TSH. I stopped thyroid meds. Yeah. So Kiki, if you don't know what your T4 is, and they're just testing TSH, you're never going to get fixed. Dawn, what is the cleanest brand of makeup for women without so many chemicals? So Dawn, my wife, and she's she's had her spleen removed. She's had autoimmune. We've lived in a moldy house. She's very sensitive to things, and Beauty Counter is the one that that she has found is the cleanest, that she does the best with. So Beauty Counter is the best one there. So let's see what else. Thoughts on treatment for late diagnosed Prader-Willi syndrome for a 4-year-old? I would get a brain map done and look into that one. How can I increase ferritin? I use ferroglobulin, but that not works good. Okay, so here's the deal. Again, work on the gut. You've got to work on the gut. Gut. I can't say it enough. If you have low ferritin and you're not addressing your digestive tract, you're not looking all the way from your mouth down to your rectum, you are missing out and you're never going to be fine. Diagnosed as diabetic type 1.5, 5 years ago, functional medicine doctor recommended gut cleanse. Thoughts? Sure, that's going to be good. Type 1.5, there's probably an autoimmune component to it, an inflammatory process. So you've got to fix everything you possibly can. If you're not using a CGM, you're missing out. You'll never get your diabetes balanced out without that. So, man, it's been over an hour, guys. I gotta go. So thankful to have all of you guys on here. If you have any more specific questions, send us a DM. You can email me directly, drben@f8wellcenters.com. We have offices in Colorado, Tennessee. My mission in life is to get this thought process out to the masses. I want everybody to start here. Don't go and spend $100,000 in these specialists and get scopes and scans and all of these things. And then they're like, well, I think it's all in your head, or we can't do anything else, or here, just take these drugs. There's underlying functional imbalances that you need to have addressed, whether that's all the way on an extreme disease state or just down to I don't feel good and I'm tired all the time. There are reasons why, and there is hope for you to get better. There is hope for you to truly get the life that you were meant to have. I believe that it is our fate to be healthy, that we are here on this planet to be healthy and vibrant and give more and be more and do more and just be the best we possibly can for our loved ones. So if you need help, if you need support, let us know. Schedule that discovery call. Come on next Tuesday and register for that webinar, or jump on TikTok Tuesday the 13th at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will be doing a 45 minutes to an hour talk just on autoimmune, and that can be Hashimoto's, that can be any number of autoimmune. It's the same thought process, and then I'll be doing a live Q&A afterwards, so I'll hang out as long as you guys have questions. So just bless all you guys. May your bodies be as healthy as feasibly possible. Merry Christmas. Love each and every one of you, and just be that vibrant, positive force for good in the world. So take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.